You
Oh, okay. I don't know what happened there. Oh,
There we
there we go.
Of course,
Okay.
the second we're going live.
That's funny. It just says stop streaming. Oh, okay. Um, okay, so I think we're live. Let's.
Oh my goodness. I don't know if anyone can hear us, but
Oh,
I
that's
just
weird.
lost you for a second there.
Okay. Well, we should be good here. You know what? I'm actually just gonna check Facebook quickly and see. That's a good way to see what's going on. I'm still trying to learn these little buttons here. Oh, it says we're
Okay.
live. Oh, yeah, we
Okay.
are. Okay.
I can't tell from my end, so hey, everybody.
Okay. Whoa, that's technical difficulties right there. Oh, okay, so welcome anybody who made it this far. I am Chantelle Rodgers, and this is my beautiful friend Shauna Arthurs, and I am like just so over the moon excited about this. When I have these podcasts, I've been thinking about how long I've known the person, and I was really trying to think today when it was that we started talking, and what I'm feeling is it was like 2018 probably. I think it was after my first cancer journey, and it was interesting because I'm always kind of the big idea person, and I had this really cool big idea of us getting together with, I think there were three other people, and we were, just kind of thinking about things that we could do with other people for other people. And then what happened is it seemed like those other people kind of fell away from the dream, and you and I just like there was something magical about you and your heart, and just the words that you spoke and the passion that you had for life and everyone and everything in it. And we just started talking like every day. So that's how many years now? That's 8 years?
I didn't realize it had been that long, but I'm not surprised because, well, time has been a little funky the last few years, right? And so when you really count it up, I that's amazing. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
I
Thank
actually
you.
never really,
Wow.
I'm just kind of like feeling that right now, how powerful that actually is.
Hmm.
And the interesting thing, what we started to do, and I think it was you that actually started it, is we started to send voice notes to one another, which that was a really cool way to communicate, because then you would send me your voice notes, I would listen to them, and then I would respond. Um, so it was just powerful because we got to sit with it, listen to the message, and then respond when it worked. And it's just something that we continued all of these years. And, every once in a while we kind of go inward and we would take a break. But man, I would say for the better part of 8 years, we've talked just about every single freaking day.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you think about it. And I have come to really love voice notes. I know they're not for
Mm,
everybody, but for you and I, it seems to really work because you have a chance to digest what someone has said and reflect on it and then reflect back what you want to in your own time. And it's so beautiful. We have had the deepest conversations and we have been through so much, navigated so much together, even though we physically do not live in the same city. These voice notes have allowed us to go to a depth that I think most people don't in friendships, even if they get together every Sunday for a coffee or something. It's really, really valuable and very precious to me.
the most beautiful thing about it is how deep we really get. Like you're saying, it's not just sharing our wins, it's sharing our, like I said today in a video, the blood, sweat, and tears
Hmm.
of life. And, that's what I love because, you are like, I always, like, I laugh when I say it because you are the person who finds beauty in anything. You can be talking, like walking along, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, I just saw a leaf and it's like the prettiest leaf, and you can see like the water on the leaf and you can see all the lines in the leaf. And So you can find beauty in anything at any moment in time. And I love that so much about you. But another thing I love is that you are not afraid to be like, this is a really fucking hard day.
Mm.
And you're not afraid to cry it out and tell me why you're crying. That is I think what real relationships are built on is we can tell each other how great things are going, but we're not afraid to say, God, today's a really, really hard day.
Yeah. I think that's also even, outside of our friendship and relationship, part of being really authentically in it, in life, in your journey is, when I'm expressing that beauty, and you do the same, of course. I'm
Not the same way you do,
oh,
though.
it sounds so amazing. Where it's how do I want to say this? Sometimes people will think that's kind of Pollyanna. That's kind of, you're
Mm,
experiencing all of this joy and it's childlike and it's naivety, but it isn't. I posit, and I know because of the things you and I have been through, and many others, all of us really, that the access to that joy comes from going through, actually feeling the pain
mm,
as life keeps lifing, right? Actually being willing to lean into the tough places and go through those things and talk through them and even sit alone through them. It is because of the grief that I have processed and felt. It is because of the tough stuff in life that I am able to access that joy and appreciate the exquisiteness when it shows up. In fact, I would say that's formative. It makes me look for the beauty. That is what keeps me alive, the beauty of this world. Otherwise, I would drown in the heaviness and all the
mm.
difficult things that we all know are happening collectively and happen to us personally. So it's part of the journey, and it is not naivety or what some people would call, spiritual bypassing or anything like that. I
Mhm.
mention that because I know when I express that joy, sometimes it feels like child energy, but it's just still being open to life, still being curious, still appreciating beauty. And I love that actually about myself, and I love that about you also.
Well, it's interesting because I just think about the Bible when I hear about childlike wonder,
Mm.
and how Jesus said multiple times to be like children.
Oh yeah.
And what I'm actually noticing, because I made this deck a couple weeks ago. I don't think I have a card in front of me, but it's a little cartoon deck, and it's peace, play, and purpose, and there's 20 cards of each. And I'm really good now at finding peace.
Yes.
And for most of my life, I was really good at hustling and trying to find a purpose.
Mm.
But what I always tended to forget was to play. And what I've been talking about lately and really discovering is the importance of alignment. And when we're in alignment, how we're merged with love, we're merged with joy and peace and truth. And to me, this is the embodiment of the higher spirit, the higher power, God, whatever you want to call it. Um, but one of the best ways to get there is through being a child. Like, to embrace the moment, to really embody what we're doing through our senses. And I feel like a lot of people forget, and I do too. We forget the importance of that childlike wonder of just like, holy shit, the sky is so beautiful. It was so beautiful this morning when I left my house. And to just like start to really be in awe of the what word do I want to use? Like the natural beauty that we have around
Mm.
us.
Mhm. And it's everywhere. It's everywhere. I
Mm,
run and I'll see a tiny little bit of moss or an itty bitty little leaf coming through, a crack in the sidewalk. And I'll just stop for a second. And my phone is full of pictures of things like that because just that little microcosm, that tiny little thing is so beautiful. And it just shows that life keeps lifing is something that I say when things like difficult things, right? But it's also the joy
hmm.
of just life, the life itself, nature, and it will find a way to be beautiful no matter what we do. And should we be gone from this planet, I guarantee you this earth would just blossom and bloom with so much
Mm,
beauty. And while we're here, we get to feel that and see that and remember that we are made from those same elements. And the more I tap into that energy of appreciating the beauty that is around me, the more I feel alive, of course, right? Because I'm
mm,
resonating with that. And you do the same when you're telling me about this gorgeous sunset, or, I was listening to you just now talking about alignment and talking about getting in the moment. And the word that I would use for that is presence, right? I mean, if
mm,
you've been on a conscious journey at all, for anyone listening and watching, you know that you're not your thoughts. And if this is a new thought for you, guess what? You're not your thoughts. They're right there, but you are the consciousness in behind. And so the more we can be present, like you would say, Chantel, get in the moment, the more we're going to notice the beauty, because otherwise our minds are running the show, right? We're in the future and we're worried or even excited, or we're in the past with regret. And getting here in this moment, would you say would you say, Chantel, that that is what you mean by alignment? I would love to hear more, because I know you've been using this word a lot lately, about what you mean when you say that.
yeah, it is. Like, because you're right. I have been saying be in the moment for a long time. And for me, the moment I've always said is a space between your thoughts. And then what it kind of uh, turned into is in the space between our thoughts is where love lives, where truth speaks. And I said that like in my first few books that I wrote, where love lives and truth speaks. But then it actually turned into and joy dances
Mm,
and peace flows. So at some point what I really felt was in the moment we're actually aligned with love, joy and peace and truth. And interestingly enough, a few years ago, I started writing a book. Actually, it's so funny because every story I have to tell involves you. Um, like, right? But remember that one day, holy shit, like I was on the way to the lake and I was going to the lake to find my Zen place. Like, that's where I always find my peace.
Yeah, I know you love it.
And
Look at
as
your
I was
picture
driving,
behind you.
I know, like, right? All my pictures are from the same, area.
Yeah.
But as I was driving, I started to see things in my life that were not fair. Things
Not
that have,
fair.
like, not
No,
fair.
fair,
Like,
not fair. Okay.
so, like, things that I hadn't faced, things that had happened that ever, I never gave myself permission to embrace it and face it.
Mm.
And so then I started, like, I remember I left you so many messages that day. I was like, what the fuck? Like, how the fuck did this happen? And I never said anything about it. And it was like I just went on this whole fuck you rant. Like, fuck you, fuck off. This isn't fucking fair. Like, it was just like hours I spent. I literally walked up and down the beach. It was fall, so nobody was at the beach, but I was literally walking up and down, like yelling, like screaming it out. And it was all of this stuff that was stuck in my nervous system because I didn't ever want to be not nice,
Mm.
right? And it was like, as I was starting to face it, this internal fucking strength just started to ignite within me. And that's when I started writing the book. It's called The Other Side of Fuckery. I was mad at people in my life. I was mad at God. I just spoke it all out. Like, how the fuck could this all be happening? And it was such a beautiful process. And as I was writing that book, we started to have conversations every day because you and I, the beautiful thing about our conversations is, yes, we are very, very open and honest about things that piss us off, but we're not speaking about it to blame or complain.
No.
We're speaking about it to get it out. And that is such an important thing. A lot of people don't want to face the things that have happened in their lives. But we have to because that is the first step in processing it, which is releasing it. And I've said before, you get really, really good and angry, then you cry it out, then it turns into wisdom, and then you surrender to it. So to me, that's just this beautiful, like wheel of healing and releasing. And so as I was doing that, I recognized that I had PTSD at the time.
I'm sure.
And I don't know how
I'm
long I would have.
so sorry, but on my screen it says host has left the conversation and host has not joined. So I just want
Oh,
to make sure. Sorry to interrupt that I'm not sitting here smiling and nodding at nobody. In terms of
no,
the
you're
live on
here.
Facebook and YouTube,
Oh, that's funny. No, you're here, right
I'm
here.
here. I just want to make sure
Yeah.
you're here because it says on my screen that you're not.
Oh, that's funny.
Host is not joined and host left the
Oh, that's
broadcast.
interesting. Well, I guess we'll
If
see
you
when
can see
it.
yourself, then it's all good. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Just thought
Oh,
I'd let
that's
you know
okay. No, I'm
in
glad
that
you told
previous
me.
program that you're using.
Uh,
Um,
yeah. So at that time, that's when I realized that I had PTSD. I don't know how long I had it. I never was officially diagnosed. But my point was, I was very afraid because I didn't know what that meant. And so I got really, when we get really afraid, that's when we start to make huge changes in our lives.
maybe
That's when, yeah,
if we're brave,
sometimes,
going, yeah,
right.
yes.
And so at that time I was like, holy shit, like this is a big deal. This is a really, really big deal to me. I couldn't form thoughts properly. I was very, very
I remember.
overreactive, you know? So that's when I started to really sit with like, what, what is, where is my healing coming from right now? And so what came to me was to really connect with the divine. And at the time, I started to see the divine as a mother and a father. And so every day, multiple times a day, I would take my brain and I would imagine myself handing it to the
Mm,
divine. And I would ask them to fill it with love, joy, peace, and truth. And then I would give them my heart. And then I would give them every part of my body. And then I would give them every part of my life. Like it just became a real thing for me. And when I was doing it, I was just in such a state of number one, fear, because, we're told that PTSD cannot be healed. So I was very afraid that, holy fuck, am I going to live like this forever? Even though I had been healing for years, you know, I have a belief that everything can heal. But at the same time, when I went through cancer, I thought that I was going to get my natural healing and I didn't. So that helped me see that sometimes, we have to go through challenges and we don't get the miraculous healing that we want. So I didn't know what it meant to have PTSD. And, so I just went through the process without any expectations. And within 20 days, I just felt this incredible, incredible shift where I literally woke up feeling like a different person in a different brain, in a different body. And so I would say that's where this new kind of terminology and this new way of looking at alignment came from. And then you know how it works. You find something really awesome and you do it every day, and then you kind of forget about it, and then you do it again. It's now become like a part of me where every single day I'm always, aligning my mind with peace and my heart with joy. I imagine love and light flowing through every cell in my body and every area of life. It actually starts through my children and then goes through every part of
good.
my
I
life,
like you said it.
through the world, to the planet. And then I always, finish by putting my hand on my heart and ask for truth to be my guide.
Mm.
So that's kind of a long way of describing it, but I mean, it's just such a powerful thing when I don't know if I can call it anything other than like spirit flowing through us.
Yeah.
and really like recognize, not just recognizing it, but embodying it.
Mm. There's so much that you just, it's almost like you just touched on a whole bunch of things in me that I want to reflect just for a minute, if you'll be so kind. Because these conversations that you and I have every day, we're familiar with this terminology. We talk about this
Hmm.
all the time, and we're going through these things. We're meditating every day. We're talking through when there's pain or when there's the depth of fear and that kind of thing. But for anyone who's starting or just leaning into what I guess I would call a healing journey,
Hmm.
I really want to highlight something that you said about really, really being angry and letting yourself feel that anger. Oh, that
Hmm.
gives me shivers, especially for women. There is this
Oh.
sacred rage that feels so righteous, but feels so suppressed, that we haven't been, not only not expressing, but not letting ourselves even acknowledge or feel. And we've gone through a lot of this already, but there will be people watching and listening who are just barely even willing to acknowledge that they are angry, and that they
Mm.
haven't been facing the ways that they have been let down, or they are letting themselves down, or they have been in martyr energy where they've been, women are especially not guilty of this but prone to it, I guess I would say. Just the way that Western modern society is kind of raising girls, is a lot of that is, oh, I need to take care of people. We know this, right? It's a cliche, it's so
Mm.
common. But that comes with a lot of self-abandonment, often, not always,
Oh,
but
I'm
it's
not trying to cut you off, but
okay.
as you were talking, like I'm feeling so emotional.
Good,
And
good.
when you said self-abandonment, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
that's so
yeah.
powerful.
Well, because it's true, and any woman, I mean, lots of people do it, but for some reason, this is just, it tends to be with women because we have children or we're caring for our parents more than men do. It's just facts, right?
Hmm.
And so we've learned over a lifetime to put ourselves not first, shall we say. And it doesn't even occur to us that that's self-abandonment. It occurs to us that we're caring and we're loving and we're empathic and we want to help and we want to serve people, but we don't acknowledge that we have allowed ourselves to be drained and exhausted, and we're at the end of our rope, and that, whew, that is self-abandonment, my friends. And once we can acknowledge that maybe we have some things to be, it's not, the anger doesn't last. And that's kind of the second thing that is related that I wanted to highlight, is that I remember once when my beautiful mama was still alive years ago, and I had so much like this so much emotion that I was hiding from, that I was keeping myself from, because we've been taught also to not feel our emotions, right? They're
Hmm.
so powerful and so scary that I thought I would drown in them if I ever faced them. And it's exactly what you did that day. And, there are stages of grief, right? When we're willing to look at that stuff and we're willing to go there, and it's painful and it sucks and it's uncomfortable and it's ugly and it's awful, but it doesn't stay that way. And I think that's a really important point for people to know, is that we've been afraid to go there because we think we're just going to die. We're going to die and drown in our emotions, and we won't. I once heard that the opposite of depression is not joy, it's expression. And we've been carrying around, I've got so many shivers. We've been carrying around all of this crap and all of this stuff and these layers of pain and these layers of resentment and, like I said, self-abandonment, and worry about like these wounds, and they're just, oh, they're under there. And if you can just with grace let yourself, I want to swear too, just express that out. Look what happened. And then came something new. Oh, I have PTSD. I've been through cancer 5 times. Oh my gosh, I have all of this pain. And the anger needed to be expressed, to wash through and out, because it doesn't stay, for you to then have access to the next level of your healing, which in your case was that, oh shoot, maybe I have PTSD. And then the fear that came with that, oh my gosh, what if I always have this? We won't always,
Mm.
we won't always have it. We just have to be willing to go through it.
Oh,
Every time I'll stop.
that was so what I really it's funny that we've had these conversations for so many years and still you can just say the right word and it just triggers something. And I don't feel triggered, I feel like healed. Like
Opens up something or
yeah, like you're helping me because when you said it's self-abandonment, I remembered all the years of, you know, being in certain relationships where I was never allowed to argue, complain,
mm,
and I just learned that if you just shut up, you'll be okay. And it's interesting because I love that we're bringing this up because how many times did I sit across a person that I could not stand
mm,
and I wasn't allowed to and I'm not in a state of blame. It's not that he didn't allow me. I didn't know how to open a conversation of I'm not happy here. So it was this constant I want to stab you in the eye with a fork. Like but it was always this fuck, I hate you so much. And like
woo.
so much hatred and anger and rage that I never, ever, ever expressed. And, it's interesting because the people that we're in relationships with, they're probably just like, looking at the sun, walking out the door. They don't even have a fucking clue what's going on in our minds. And we're wanting to stab them in the eye with a fork. Like, do you know what I mean? But that is exactly what you said. And I don't even know if I've heard that ever said before, self abandonment.
Hmm.
Because instead of pissing somebody else off, we would rather stay in the
Yeah, yeah,
relationship
yeah. That's it right there.
and feel like we're going to explode every day because we have to be nice.
That's it right there is when you start questioning the logic of it, it doesn't make any sense. Why would what someone else thinks of my choices be more important to me than my own well being and my own happiness and my own pouring into myself and loving myself and respecting myself? And this feels like just words, but it's a big, big conversation because it's everywhere, especially for
Mm,
in our lives, whether it's at work and we don't speak up or, this isn't about speaking up or fighting. It's not about that. It's about when you really start doing the inner work to have recognition of your own worth, and you would call it value. I know you've been speaking about that a lot lately. Just knowing, just loving yourself and trusting yourself that you're going to be okay no matter what. It's like it
mm,
changes everything. It changes you don't have to have willpower to have those boundaries or to speak something. You may not even want to speak it to the person because they're not going to understand. You just
right.
get yourself out of that situation because you are not abandoning yourself anymore. You are loving yourself. You're choosing. It's like the worst word in the world that we've heard that we can be is selfish. What a crock.
Mm,
Choosing ourselves gives us the only chance we've got of serving and giving from a healthy place, from overflow. Once we have, filled that void that we've just let be there for so long, and start pouring self-love into it and loving ourselves and honoring ourselves. Like, this is for all of you out there who haven't been doing that. I know this is going to hit a chord because we've been through it, Chantelle and I, you and I
hmm
have been through the recognition of all the places we let ourselves down. And it's a really tough thing to see. But once you get that and just start behaving in ways that is self-honoring and self-loving more and more and more as a habit, like you said, now this has become part of your day, part of you
hmm
have to use willpower at first to continue to make a new choice and remember that this is what you wanted, because the old patterns are strong and they're like webs, right? They're
Mm.
strong and they're sticky, but you can overwrite them. And as you do that, you focus on building the new. Like, who was it that said that? Our Buckminster Fuller, I think, said, the way to create change is to focus on building the new, and the old will fall away by itself.
Ooh,
Love. Yeah.
that's a good one because I've been talking a lot about the subconscious mind, and one of the biggest things, like we've got to put a pin. That's what you say all the time. Let's just put a pin in this, um, because I do want to talk about meditation because I think that's the thing that has changed our lives the most. But one of the things that showed up the other day was we are living within the limits
Mm.
programmed by someone else's fear.
Amen.
And when I
Such a
like,
powerful sentence.
yeah, and I keep it just will not leave my mind because there's a stubborn part of me that's like, fuck that. Like, no, no, there's no fucking way. Because I made a video today and I was like, you know what? I'm 52 years old and I'm
Happy belated
still, yeah, thank you.
from last month.
Oh, and I'm still living within the limits that was created by other people's fear. And there's no fucking way that my kids are going to be 52 years old living within my limits because I didn't challenge them. Oh, I lost you. Ooh, we lost Shauna, so I'm not sure. She'll probably come back. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's funny.
I don't.
Okay,
It's
I don't know what's
weird.
happening, but you're back.
Hi.
We
Okay,
just
let's,
needed a little break.
yeah, align again. And I have a whole different meaning of the word alignment, and I love yours as well. But you said, me just refresh myself. The limits that we have were put into us were somebody else's fears. And I mean, we can
Mm,
use any example, right? I remember when my daughter was little, my beautiful, amazing daughter, and my parents had dogs and loved dogs, and my daughter grew up with dogs. But one day, one of her relatives came along from her dad's family, and she was terrified of dogs. And so,
mm,
like, oh my God, da, 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 like at the dog. And she was terrified. And she had this whole thing about the dog, which was like a golden retriever, the most beautiful, calm dog you could ever know, sweet, loving. But I noticed that my daughter started parroting that behavior. She was like, oh no, the
mm,
dog. We were like, what are you talking about? You're not scared of dogs. But it's just to show how quickly and easily someone can put their fear into you. So imagine when you're little and those beliefs just get layered and layered with repetition and repetition and repetition, and you just think this is how it is. These are your limits. This is your box. This is how it is. This is what you are not capable of, which is garbage. But we all have this, like, I'm little, I'm not enough, I don't know if I can do it. But we never stop to question, did we put that there? How do we know?
mm.
Who gave us that limit? It's somebody else's fear,
Right.
their lens through which they see the world, and they don't feel they're capable, so they put that on you, and you took it as gospel. And as my beautiful friend and I were talking about the other day, it's like someone fed you poison, and she's like, her grandfather told her when she was little
Mm,
that she was ugly. So this isn't a fear, it's a belief, but it's the same principle, it's the same phenomenon at work. When she was little, like 7 or 8, little. And she is now 48. So that's 40 years. She has gone through life thinking that she's ugly when it wasn't even her thought. And she's actually stunningly beautiful. And she's just starting to recognize it as she approaches 50. And the way she put it was, as she's recognizing this what you would call a limiting belief, right? It's kind of like a cliche,
hmm.
but it's like somebody gave you poison once, and now you've been giving it to yourself every day for 4 freaking decades. Like, what?
You know, that's really interesting that you said that because I kind of, I've written books about this and I say that our we learn from how our parents treated themselves,
Mm.
how they
Hmm.
treated one another, and how we were treated. And I also have written like it's intensity and repetition, like
Yeah.
how intensely we feel or
Yes.
intently we feel it. But that's interesting that you say that she heard that once, which is like, holy shit, that's just kind of pulling me into this place of what we've been saying these years is more true and more powerful than what we even first thought. And I mean,
Can you I'm not following. Like I am, but I want you to expand.
oh, okay. Well, I felt like we had to hear the same thing over and over and over
Hmm.
before it became a
Ah,
belief, or it had to be like, really severe emotional trauma. But when you're saying that he said that once, that's like, holy shit. Like this stuff gets programmed way easier than I even thought. Like one comment could actually change your fucking life. That's
so
sad.
interesting. There's so much there because, well, for one, it probably was traumatic. But the reason that she and I started having
Mhm.
that conversation was because I was saying when I was little, my mom told me I couldn't sing. But that's because
Mm.
she couldn't sing. And I love singing. And two friends have told me recently I have a beautiful singing voice. And I was like, oh, I just spent the last 40 something years thinking that I couldn't sing because my mom said I couldn't sing one time. But it brings to mind that we think we have to repeat good things, like positive beliefs over and over and over and get them in our subconscious so that we can believe better things about ourselves. But maybe that is also easier than we think.
Shit.
Damn, girl. Like,
Okay, that's just like holy
why is
shit,
it
hallelujah
one bad
moment.
thing can just affect you for the rest of your life, but you can't say amazing things? And it's like, no, I have to repeat it and repeat it for months and years until I believe that I'm worthy and good enough and I can do it. Like, what? What,
Wow.
actually, the evidence is if you had a mentor when you were a kid, maybe a teacher or somebody who actually saw you and appreciated you and said something kind to you, we've heard stories about how those things can be a positive driver for people and have when they go on and do amazing things, one little comment, one little compliment. So how do we do that for ourselves?
And that's an interesting thing too, because we're now both wanting to start to work with people in some way, shape, or form. I'm starting to do
Differently.
these Zoom
Mhm.
calls and workshops, and it's like, holy shit. Um, this is a total new perspective shift for me as to how easy it can be,
Mm.
you know? And are we literally just unraveling something so huge right now that can help us? Because I feel like you and I are in this place where for me anyway, I'm just like, I feel like you're usually ahead of me in the game. Like, you're usually,
You say that, but I don't believe you.
but it's just like, oh, fuck, Shauna said this 6 months ago. Like, that's usually how I feel. But the point is, you've been talking about value for a long time. And I wasn't seeing it, and I wasn't seeing it, and I wasn't seeing it. And all of a sudden, these last couple days, I'm like, holy shit, that's what she's talking about.
It's
And
loving
and
yourself.
yeah, and so now it's like everything that I wanted, like, this podcast is called The Struggle is Real, which is true because I've always wanted to be honest with people that we all struggle in different ways. But now I'm starting to see my own value, which means everything I do with other people is going to be based in helping them find theirs.
Mm.
But what you just said is now helping me to actually recognize how much easier it can be for me to help people step into their value than I believed yesterday or even this morning. Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, what if, just throwing this out there, but part of
You're so cute.
part of the scarcity paradigm that basically, the kind of general public, right? Most of us have grown up in, like I said, it's a web of beliefs, both collective and personal, where we've been taught almost to think that we're not good enough and just, not go for our dreams because then we break out of the box, right? And we go for all these
Hmm.
beautiful things and we want to live this epic life. And, that's not always wanted. But what if part of that scarcity paradigm is feeling there's virtue and honor in the struggle. And so there's a belief that
Mm,
I have to try really hard to overcome this, and it's a hero's journey. Like, we would never say
mm,
those words consciously, that we're on a hero's journey, but it's like you're an underdog and you have to try really hard, and it's like it makes the abundance once you get it, or the impact or whatever it is, worthwhile, and you're worthy. You
mm.
had to fight for it, and you had to try really hard, and it was a big journey up a long bunch of mountains or whatever. But what if that is not necessary? Can we allow ease and abundance and flow? And isn't that how life really works? It keeps creating, it keeps creating. It's not like, no, I can't, there's a block here and there's a block there, and I can't, and I don't know if I'm worthy. Life doesn't do that. And so when you talked about sort of that life force, what did you call it? I call it life force, you called it spirit, flow
Mm.
through us. It's like we're always looking for blocks and on this journey, right? Trying to find, like, where are the kinks in the energy that are blocking all of this? But what if there aren't any? What if we can just let
Ah,
it flow?
shit. You
Dang
know, it's,
it.
but like the interesting thing is, I actually believe that they don't exist other than in our mind.
Absolutely.
And isn't that kind of really messed up that
Hmm.
we're holding on to this? Like, I was driving home today and I think I was thinking about the podcast, and I'm like, there are people out there doing podcasts making millions of dollars a year. Like, why couldn't I do that? Why is this not possible for me or someone like me? And all of a sudden, I started to imagine that happening. And then what started to show up is I was like, I don't even know how to describe this. Like, I immediately started to prove in
Hmm.
my mind to people in my life that, but you know what? I deserve it because I fucking
Yeah,
worked hard. I
exactly.
had cancer. I went through divorce. I deserve it. But like,
The justifying.
yeah. Like I worked my fucking ass off, so it's okay if I make millions. Who told us that we have to suffer in order to succeed?
Well, you tell me.
Like,
Like,
right?
it's part of that paradigm. It
Oh,
really is. And, as I'm listening to you and I'm thinking about how long we've known each other and when we first met, and I will put you on the spot for a second and share, like, I have always seen this incredible epic life for you. And I also will say that I don't see that in everybody. I don't see the blueprint for massive impact in everybody. And we've been talking about this recently too, about how, I've always thought that everybody had this in them, this sense of
mm,
purpose, this sense of impact, this blueprint, this destiny that's way bigger than what we grew up in, or what, our background, so to speak, that like this calling, this whatever it is that you and I both have, and my dearest friends have. My beautiful aunt told me recently in the summer that she was like, Shauna, I don't have that. You have that sense of purpose. I don't feel that. And you and I have just been kind of wrangling with, okay, wait, maybe not everyone has that in this lifetime. We don't know if there are multiple lives and whatever it is, but maybe this is the lifetime in which we have that activated in us, and maybe not everybody does. And so that's why we are constantly leaning into expansion and growth and healing and curiosity to what is possible with our lives. But it kind of surprised me to recognize that not everybody has that yearning or calling or feeling of being called forth. And the reason I'm saying this is because I see this in you and have ever since we met. And so the question I would pose to you is, what is stopping you from fulfilling what, like, you wouldn't have that vision of your destiny if it wasn't planted in your heart.
mm-hmm.
So it's yours. You have every right to fulfill it. It was given to you. No one else can fulfill it, and nobody needs to understand.
It's so interesting.
I
Um,
don't know why that gives me shivers.
I know, and it's so interesting because uh, people have seen this in me well, not my whole life. I would say since I was about 20 or so.
Yes.
Anyone that like I meet, they're like, "Holy shit, you're gonna go on to do some big stuff."
Yeah.
And I know it, but there's well, I think the interesting thing is what we were talking about today is I I'm actually starting to feel like everybody has some really cool divine purpose. It may not be stages and millions of dollars, but there's something really amazing set aside for every one of
Oh,
us,
yeah. I'll agree with that.
you know?
Of
And
course.
so what I was thinking today is, but who's going to do enough? And I hate to say it, like it doesn't have to be hard work, but
Hmm.
it's the work. Like to me, the work is to face and to face and to face these limiting beliefs that show up. And I feel like I'm recently feeling like this is going to happen for me because I keep being present and aligned, even though it's really motherfucking hard some days. Like, it's hard because when we're facing our shit, which is our programs, it's painful. Like, it's painful because we get angry and we get sad. And, like, I would say this weekend was one of the hardest weekends I've had. And really, nothing was going on. There was nothing going on in my life that was stressful. Actually, to be honest, I've been blessed in some really incredible ways in the last few weeks, like huge life altering blessings.
Yep.
But there was something shifting. And I feel like what's actually happening is the death of the old parts of us that are not uh, we're grieving
Hmm.
those women that are stuck in lack and disbelief and staying safe in what they know. I feel like now it's like, I don't fucking care. I'm looking at my little mural in my room with these mountains, and I'm like, I don't care how hard this gets. I'm not stopping until I get to the top. But that is constant facing and feeling
So why
and
would someone want to go
discovering.
through something like that? If someone's listening and they're thinking, well, this is why I don't face my feelings, is because it's so painful. What, like, speak to, if you will, like I said, the access to the joy, the access to the life force, the access to the
Mm.
possibilities that you wouldn't have had if you had stayed in that small little self that is afraid of everything. I mean, what comes to mind, and then I'll give you the floor on your own beautiful broadcast, is it's like acute pain versus chronic pain. So when you face those things,
Oh.
the moment it is acute, but you're actually excavating some really chronic pain that you've been carrying around for years or decades. And so you're making space for new possibilities that could not have existed for you, including accessing your joy and just some clarity around what your purpose might be and what will bring you happiness and joy in this lifetime, and genuinely connecting with others and all of that stuff that is just isn't available when you're just like this little rat in a corner in scarcity and not looking at your stuff and in fear and worry. And that's what comes up for me. So what comes up for you when you want to share with people who would say, well, why the heck would I want to do the inner work then if it's so painful?
Oh God, I'm so grateful you brought that up because you just described it in such a beautiful way that I would have never ever actually thought of. But that is it. It's like, so every single day since, well, I've been doing this healing work for 19 years now. So on that journey, every day it's self-discovery, like looking inward. And since 2016, I started meditating at least an hour a day. And so for me, the meditation is, to feel the emotions that show up and to notice the thoughts that are generating the emotions. So I do that and I do that and I do that. So that's where it becomes very, very painful. But what I've recognized through my meditations every single day is there's always peace on the other side of that pain. And there's always some kind of freedom from some limiting belief. And we don't know what we're healing, but okay, so I'll just use this as an example because this weekend I worked through some really major shit with you. And what I didn't realize was that it's funny that I'm not emotional right now, and I was emotional at everything else you've said. Looking at a leaf made me cry. But this is actually really huge that I can talk about this and not bawl my eyes out. Um, I always was convinced that I was going to die
Mm.
suddenly. You know, well, it was from when the cancer started, like, right? So I had the cancer, I got the treatment, then I got another way fucking worse cancer, got the treatment, then another cancer, like 6 in 6 years. That's a lot of fucking times I was diagnosed and told that, and then my mom died suddenly. And then I had just so much going on in my life. And for whatever reason, I've always been very afraid of death. And it turned into this, like I said, just knowing, just this inner knowing that I was going to die very, very soon, or be diagnosed with another cancer that was going to lead me through a horrible journey and that was going to kill me. I also, at the same time, had these debilitating fears from when I had kids that my kids were going to die in accidents. Or like, it's like every time I don't physically see my kids, I'm waiting for the phone call that one of them has died.
So your brain runs loops of your worst fears.
Over and over and over. And I mean, like, just imagine every day of my life really living
So
like,
there's the undercurrent of chronic pain
oh, like,
running constantly until this past weekend. Imagine the freedom. I've seen it in you on the other side of that when you finally crack that open. Like we are all carrying stuff like that around. May not be as terrifying as what you're just describing, but that once you can excavate that and see it and crack it open and shine light on it and realize what's been happening, there's freedom, there's peace on the other side of it. Like peace, imagine the peace that dawns for someone who is afraid of what you just said all the time, understandably, which makes it even worse because your brain's like, it's totally logical for you to feel that way.
we'll see, because it's always like giving me reasons why it can happen and will. So like,
True, it can happen. Your mom died in an instant, right?
yeah,
My parent, like, I mean, it's true. Life can end like that. And so, how are you feeling now?
it's like, um honest to God, for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm alive.
Hmm.
And I'm still getting used to like what that actually means. Like,
Ooh.
it's just been,
So giving
my,
yourself permission to actually live
mhm.
fully,
Yeah, like my son went to
pain.
his friend's house. Yeah, like my son took my car on the weekend to go visit one of his friends that lives out of town on a gravel road. Freezing fucking rain, in Saskatchewan, like our roads are fucking shit. And I was like, well, it's freezing rain. I don't know if you should go. And he's like, oh, I'll be fine. And I said, yeah, you will be. And I let him go. And not only did I let him go, but like I played with the dog. and I talked to
Right,
you.
so it
Like
wasn't just an
I
intellectual
didn't
exercise, you feel different. You sound like someone who has been cured of a phobia.
like yeah. Yeah, actually that's a really good way to put it. And so my nervous system, like my posture, my outlook on life, like it's like, oh, and it's interesting because I feel like it was all tied together.
Yeah, I can feel
You
it.
know, when you're saying, well, how come you never thought that you could, have a big destiny? And I would say I don't think I even had the time because I was trying to process how I'm going to deal with my kids dying or me dying. So
Wild.
now, like the other day you said, just give it to me. I want you to tell me all the things that you're excited about and like go as crazy as you can. And I'm like I got nothing here. Like I couldn't even dream about a fantastic future because and this never really made sense to me before, but I'm so grateful that we're talking about it because I think that's what it was. I was traumatized every day by fear.
I would posit that most people are unable to access the dreams in their heart and the biggest desires they might have because of the limiting the patterns and the patterns that show themselves as just how it is. And I wanted to touch on that.
Mm,
As you were speaking, I crossed my fingers because I wanted to remember to say that you said I had this inner knowing that I was going to die. Or, you said that. Those were your words.
mhm,
And what really came up for me, like just bubbled up like a champagne, glass of champagne. I love that image,
mm,
just bubbled up, was that's how wrong we can be when we have an inner belief that was installed in us, however it got there. It's like we don't think we have a belief. We think this is just how things are. This is just how it is. And it's not true. It shows how wrong we can be and how like powerful those beliefs can be, and they can be utterly wrong. So
mm,
once you crack one of those really powerful beliefs open and see differently, it's like you have all new, this is what we were saying, you have all new possibilities available to you that you literally could not access before. So that's why. Who knows what's going to flow for you now? You just like it's Monday. You just do this in the last couple of days.
Well, okay, and you know what I want to really talk about? We don't have, well, actually, it's already 7 o'clock, but
We've been an hour. Is
um,
it an hour?
no, it's not actually limited. So let's just
We're
spend a
just
couple of extra minutes if that's okay, because
Mhm.
I really want to talk about what it is that we are doing that is creating this, because I feel like the healing that we experience, like I would say it comes in waves. Like every once in a while, we're just like, oh my dear God, how did I believe that without, like, right?
Yeah.
And I would say that the two biggest things are our conversations every day where we speak openly and honestly about our shit, and also being in the moment, the meditation.
Yeah. It's huge.
My friend Crystal said this on the podcast that we did, that the word meditation actually means becoming familiar with.
Ah, I've never
Isn't
heard
that
becoming familiar.
so?
Okay.
Yeah. And so when she said that, I was like, oh my God, we are becoming familiar with how our emotions feel and how our brain is sending us thoughts. Meaning we're also becoming familiar with who we truly are, which is everything behind that.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling as you're speaking, becoming familiar with the space of or the consciousness, the formless behind the form. We were getting a
Mm,
little esoteric here, but if you're meditating enough, you're going to start to recognize that none of this is you. It's
mm,
just all thought patterns, and you're the consciousness in behind it, and there's so much peace available there. So much peace. And then you have the grace to take that with you through the day, and you make different choices in the moment when something happens that previously would have bothered you or triggered you, so to speak. And it's just like you gain this spaciousness from doing that every day, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah, and what I feel is we have this subconscious, you can't see, subconscious
Mm.
programming of who we're told we are, who we believe we are. And then when we're meditating, and this is why I always tell people it's very important. I'm back in the place where, because I was always trying to make it easier for people.
Mm.
I really truly believe if you're not spending at least an hour, you're like, you can meditate for 5 minutes and feel better.
But
But
it's
if
just a drop.
you,
Although you can get
yeah,
better and better at dropping in, but it takes that initial practice to know what that space feels like. I'm laughing because
yeah,
I'm thinking like meditation makes you go, "Hey, wait a minute." Like that's not true and that's not true. It's like that's what it is like, "Hey, hold on a second."
yeah. It's cool that you said that because it's like the difference between, do I want to feel better and feel peaceful,
Mm.
or do I want to change my motherfucking life?
And
And
they're
I feel
both.
like, right, yeah. But if you want to really discover who you are and what you're capable of, that's when we spend the hour because we get deeper and deeper. And what I feel is when you get behind the thoughts and you get behind the emotions and you become that space, you know that you're safe.
Mm.
You know that everything is happening for a purpose. You know that there is a divine unfoldment. You also, this is one we've been talking about a lot, is you know that no matter what, you're going to be okay.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Right. And so when we're aligned in that space, what we're doing is proving to the belief systems that say you're not safe, you're not going to be okay, they're not right. They're not true. So eventually they begin to dissolve because we're not being pulled so tightly anymore by them.
Yeah, they don't run us anymore. Those
Uh,
patterns, those invisible patterns, they don't run you anymore. You're just like, aha, little sneaky buggers. You catch them, right? And you're like, no, 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 no,
right.
no, that we're not doing that anymore. We're not playing that game anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the beautiful thing is, like I said, I've been doing this healing work for 19 years, and this weekend was the biggest shift I've ever experienced.
It's
So
amazing
my,
to tell. Sorry, go ahead.
oh no, but
Just
like,
I've seen you. I know that you have such incredible gifts, and the things that you have healed in others, or helped.
oh, oh, I think we lost you again. Hmm. We lost Shauna again, but last time she came back, so I'm just gonna wait and see here. Oh, there she is. Oh, there you are. Oh, I gotta turn you on. There we go. Three, two, one. Okay,
I
there
thought
you are
maybe
again.
I thought maybe our time ended. All I was gonna say was it's so weird how that keeps happening.
I know.
That you have been such a powerful source of healing or access to healing for others. And we're talking like major, major, major healings. And yet here you are, just having one of your own just this past weekend. It just speaks to
Mm,
how deep the programs run in us and how willing we have to be to still know that stuff will still come up and be
mm,
willing to keep going and be resilient and be just keep going. That's it. Just keep going because there might be more on there might be more things that come up. And I think we're excavating some pretty deep stuff now because we've done all the normal stuff, right? We've healed all the pretty typical patterns over these years. And so now it's like, woo, really deep stuff. But that's where the power is. I
mm.
guarantee you unleashed some amazing, incredible inner power this past weekend. Guarantee it.
Yeah, I can feel it like in my whole body. I just feel it.
I could hear it in you the past day. Yeah. The
Yeah.
difference in energy and your, like you said, value. I can hear it in you. You've shifted for sure.
Well, imagine if you believe that the things that you love the most are going to die.
Mm.
There would be a lack of value there. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Or like,
why would I feel like I should be tortured like that? You
oh
know?
wow, ooh, it's like suffering again. Like, wow.
Mm-hmm. So, we never know why things are the way they are, but all we know is when it shifts, it frickin' shifts. So, yeah, I'm just so glad that we got to share this all because I just feel like people are getting ready to really dive in and do the work because we're all starting to see that there's something more and we just want to know what that is. Like we're just so
Mhm.
tired of the whatever it is. We just want inner guidance and inner peace and inner joy, not from the things in the world, but when
Yes,
we have it here, then everything else is matching that.
yes, yeah. Well,
Oh,
may this happen. I love it, and I love that people are just. It feels like people are ready. Like so many people are
mm-hmm.
this now, so it's a perfect timing for this conversation, and I'm very grateful that you asked.
Oh, thank you so much. This has just been absolutely beautiful. Oh, so just stay on and then we can chat when we're done. But I'm just going to end it and say thank you, everyone who's been watching. Um, this is just purely magical. So we're going to be doing this again. You can go to my website, letlovelead.ca, and it will have the link to this and future episodes. So thank you, Shauna. That
My
was
pleasure.
incredible. And we will talk to you all soon.